Millionaire arrives to evict, but two little girls change everything. Victor Langston didn't believe in luck. He believed in contracts, deadlines, and consequences. At 57, he'd built his empire brick by brick: real estate, luxury developments, ironclad agreements. There was no room in his world for sympathy. So when his property manager handed him a file labeled Unit 3B, 3 months delinquent, Victor didn't blink. He slid the eviction notice into his coat pocket, climbed into his sleek black Mercedes, and drove across town to a once beautiful townhouse now sagging with age. The plan was simple: knock, serve, leave. But when the door creaked open, it wasn't a tenant who answered. It was two little girls in matching blue dresses, no older than 6 or 7. Their big, frightened eyes met his, and for the first time in a long time, Victor forgot his lines. "Is your mother home?" he asked, his voice softer than he intended. The older girl straightened up with practiced courage. "She said she'd be back last week." The younger one stepped forward, eyes brimming. "Please don't take our home. Mommy said if anything went wrong, Mr. Langston would help us." Victor froze. "What did you say?" The older girl reached into her dress pocket and pulled out a crumpled envelope. Scrawled in familiar handwriting, "Victor Langston." Inside was a note, just a few lines. "Victor, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. I didn't want to ask like this, but they have no one else. Their names are Lily and Leia. Please take care of them." Elena, his world tilted. Elena Martinez. A name buried deep in his past. Years ago, she was a tenant, warm, stubborn, unforgettable. They'd shared a brief, beautiful time before he left for a New York deal, chasing ambition over connection. He never looked back. "Where is she now?" he asked. "She went to fix something," whispered Leia. "She didn't come back." Victor stepped inside. The apartment was eerily quiet. 2 small beds, a fridge note with reheating instructions, empty cereal boxes. The air smelled of lavender and abandonment. He looked at the eviction notice in his coat pocket, folded it again, then tore it into shreds. He brought dinner from the diner and watched them eat like they hadn't in days. They huddled together, whispering before answering, eyes flicking toward the door as if still hoping someone would return. That night, Victor called every hospital. Nothing. Then he hired a private investigator. "Find her," he said, "and keep it quiet." He couldn't sleep. Instead, he searched an old box in his penthouse. Photos. One of him and Elena outside a coffee shop, laughing. He wondered if she'd ever meant to tell him she was pregnant. And whether no, it didn't matter. Not right now. The next morning, he returned to the townhouse. The girls were still waiting. "Are you taking us away now?" Lily asked. Victor knelt. "No," he said gently. "I'm taking you somewhere safe." He called his housekeeper. "Clear out the guest wing. We have family coming." For days later, his penthouse echoed with new sounds. Tiny footsteps, giggles, cereal bowls clinking. Victor Langston, man of steel and stock options, stood barefoot in his kitchen pouring cereal at 6 a.m. for 2 sleepy girls wrapped in fleece blankets. They trusted him completely. No questions, just quiet hope. That night, the private investigator called. "Victor, I found her. She's in a coma. Car crash. No ID. She's been listed as a Jane Doe at county for almost a month." Victor's heart sank that he drove to the hospital. ICU. Machines beeped. Tubes everywhere. But there she was, Elena. Broken, unconscious, alive. "I should have stayed," he whispered. 3 days later, A DNA test arrived. Not a match. He wasn't the girl's father. Not by blood. His knees nearly gave out that he'd hoped. Deep down, he'd wanted them to be his. But then he remembered Leia's trembling voice. Please don't take our home. And the feeling in his chest didn't change. That night, he set the girls down. I'm not your real dad, he said gently. And I don't know if your mommy will wake up. But I want you to know something. He pulled them close. I'm not going anywhere. You never have to be afraid again. Leia cried. Lily hugged him tight. I knew you were good, she whispered. Weeks passed. Elena slowly improved. Her memory fragile, but returning. One morning, her eyes filled with tears. They're my nieces, she said softly. My sister died giving birth. I wasn't supposed to raise them, but I had no one. I remembered you once said, if you ever need me, just ask. So I did. Victor swallowed hard. He had made that promise years ago over coffee. One he never thought would be called upon. 6 months later, the adoption was finalized. Victor Langston was no longer just a billionaire. He was a father. Elena moved in, too. Not as a tenant, not as a guest, but as family. The townhouse, once heavy with silence, now rang with piano notes, bedtime stories, science fair mishaps, and squeals of laughter. Victor didn't care what the board thought anymore. He made pancakes, learned to braid, missed meetings for dance recitals. The man who came to evict 2 orphans had been given something he never knew he needed, a home.